But with looming regulatory concerns and flagship iPhone sales slowing, where does Tim Cook take the company from here? Joining me now, Gene Munster is tech investment firm Loop managing partner, and Steve Kovac is CNBC.com technology editor. And it's great to have you both here. Gene, let me start by asking what sort of credit Tim Cook can take for this, because you could see a world in which Steve Jobs goes, look what a great job I did setting this up. This was a piece of cake. Or, or everybody else goes, yeah, of course, it was Apple. It was the iPhone. Anyone could have done it. What has Tim Cook uniquely been able to do here?
Well, I think that's a good starting point, too, is in my humble opinion, what he's done is become the world's greatest CEO. That, as you said, is part of his accomplishments, part of Steve Jobs. A thread here that often gets overlooked is one of Steve Jobs' greatest legacy is this handoff. It is the blueprint for all corporate handoffs. And I think that what he did so well, Steve, of course, laid the groundwork, but what Tim followed up on is maintaining a culture which is incredible to go from $100 billion in revenue to what will be $400 billion next year. And that culture is focused, its singular focus has been unchanged, which is, in Apple's case, to create products that enrich people's lives. And so I think what is the substance of what has Tim Cook done? He has really shepherded this culture, which Tim Cook has done. He shepherded this culture that Steve Cook built, and that is something that is incredibly difficult to do.
To follow up on that, Gene, is what Tim Cook has created transferable?
I think everything is transferable at a level of course, that was the narrative when Steve Jobs left, is that this could not be transferable, and here we are. And so I think it is, and I think that those conversations, I'm sure, are going on inside of Apple about how to lay that framework. And what's most important is Steve Jobs had with the focus of the products. There are, of course, other major areas that Apple can get into, which I'm sure are the discussion, the hot points for any future leader of Apple.
Steve, we're watching the market cap approach nearly $2.5 trillion for Apple here. So the question isn't so much Tim Cook has done so well, how can he keep doing better? It's how big can this company literally get?
Yeah, that's right. And $2.5 trillion sounds like a lot now. And think of where they were 10 years ago when he took over. It was about a $340 billion company at the time. So that's just a massive growth, and all because Tim Cook took the ball from Steve Jobs, who spearheaded the iPhone development, and he said, let's grow this into a booming business. To your question, Kelly, what happens after the iPhone? We know they're dabbling in cars, which has a huge addressable market for them. And we know they're dabbling in this next era of computing, these glasses that you're going to wear on your face that, if you ask the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world, are going to replace the iPhone one day. So they're preparing for that in a post-Tim Cook Apple.
Great point. I mean, at some point, we all know the technology will move past this era that Apple has firmly been the leader of. Gene, what would you say to investors who have watched the last 10 years and gone, all right, maybe I was in for that ride, maybe I wasn't. What do I do now? Is it Apple? To Steve's point, is it Facebook? Should I stop worrying about Apple and get focused on the metaverse and get in early there? Am I looking at crypto? Where do you make the next $1 trillion?
At Loop, this is something that we obsess about, is trying to find those threads. And I think in Apple's case, one of the metrics we have is, can you sleep well at night owning an investment? And I think investors should sleep well knowing they own Apple, in part because of leadership and culture, but also what Steve had mentioned. Those two areas that they're going to be getting into over the next decade I think are fractionally reflected in the current market cap, and have addressable markets massively bigger than the phone or the services business. And just to put a finer point on it, is that there are only few companies that can really power that change, whether it's an auto or the metaverse, and Apple's one of them. And so my take is stay the course. I think that this company can be $200 or better in the next year plus, the stock can, and I think it's just going to keep moving higher.
It's fascinating. Steve, any last words for those who say, well, all right, I want to get in on the metaverse, though?
Well, the metaverse is way far away, despite what you might hear from Facebook. This is going to be 10, 15 years before we're actually in the metaverse. But Apple is really positioned to make that technology, to make that platform, just like they did the phone, and all these layers were built on top of it. Billion-dollar companies built on top of the iPhone. They're going to make the next platform. So when that technology is ready, that metaverse will exist on an Apple platform. So yeah, the future is bright.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.